What's up YouTube, Saf here on SuperSaf TV, and this is my full hands-on review of the Samsung Galaxy S6 and the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge. So I was going to do two separate videos for these devices, but there's so much that's identically the same, I would have been repeating myself. So I've combined both the reviews into this one single video. Now a lot of people are calling these the best smartphones of 2015 so far. Is that actually the case? Well, let's find out. So let's start off with what's most different about these devices, and that is the build. Samsung have finally ditched the full plastic build for the S series, and now you've got Gorilla Glass panels on the front and back with a metal frame. So both devices look and feel very premium, but for me the standout here is the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge. I would say it's the best designed smartphone out there right now. It's unique and it really separates itself from the competition. This is something that we've not seen before. Now the Edge doesn't leave much to grip onto on the side, so it can feel a little bit sharp. This is nothing major, don't get me wrong, and it's perfectly usable, but I would say that the S6 is a little bit more comfortable to use overall. Now one of the problems that you're going to get here because of the glass panel on the back is fingerprints. These attract fingerprints like anything, and this might be quite annoying for some. You can get over this by using either a case or a skin, but something definitely to bear in mind. Now you've got 5.1-inch displays here on both devices with Quad HD resolution, so that's 2560 by 1440 and 577 ppi pixel density. Now in my opinion, these are some of the best displays that you're going to find out there. You've got some great colors, nice viewing angles, and some super sharp detail. And one of my favorite things personally is the fact that you can go really bright or really dim. So if you are out in daylight, you can have these displays really bright. And if you are like me and you use your smartphone in the dark when the lights are off, then these go super dim and are not very distracting, which is absolutely great. Now one thing that a lot of Samsung users are going to be very disappointed about is the fact that you've got no expandable storage. You've just got internal storage here. Now I was initially annoyed by this, but I think the speed has more than made up for it. You've got Universal Flash Storage 2.0, and the S6 and the S6 Edge are available in the 32, 64 and 128GB versions. So I'm glad they've not started at a base version of 16GB like some of the competition, iPhone. And getting rid of the expandable storage, I think, has gone towards the speed of these devices. You've also got an octa-core processor which is 64-bit and 3GB of DDR4 RAM. So most devices have DDR3 RAM. Here you've got DDR4. Now because of these factors, you get a very smooth experience, and performance for me has been absolutely great. I haven't really experienced any lag whatsoever. Now let's talk about the cameras. I have done a side-by-side comparison of the S6 and the iPhone 6, and I have to say I've been hugely impressed. You've got 16 megapixels on the rear facing camera with optical image stabilization. You've got some amazing detail, some great colors, and very consistent shots. I would actually say that these are the best cameras on any smartphone out there right now. The interface is also hugely improved. You can activate the camera just by double tapping the home button, and this is probably the quickest launch on any camera out there. You've also got a pro mode which lets you manually control lots of the features. So if like me you're somebody into photography, then you can really mess around with the settings and get the exact shot that you want. And the controls generally have just been cut back and simplified so much more. One thing that I definitely like is the fact that you've got the front facing camera switch on the bottom of the device right next to the shutter, so you can switch between the front and the rear facing camera really quickly and easy with one hand. You don't have to reach for it to the top like you have on lots of other devices. There's also 4K video, which is absolutely great, and there's 720p at 120 frames a second, so you do have slow motion in here. Samsung have also improved the software, so this works very much like an iPhone. It's not as good as the 240 on the iPhone, but is a great option to have. The front-facing camera is 5 megapixels, capable of filming 1440p HD. It's wide angle, so it's great for your group selfies. Once again, very impressed with the front-facing camera. This is something that I was hugely disappointed with on the S5, which was very soft, and they really made a mess up of the front-facing camera on the S5. It's great to see that they have now improved this. Now moving on to the operating system, you've got Android Lollipop, but it does have Samsung's TouchWiz UI. Now TouchWiz has been criticized a lot in the past, but it has been cut back a lot this time around. Yes, it's not stock Android, but definitely the best version of TouchWiz that I've used so far. You've got some useful features such as customizable themes, and you can also have customizable layouts, and you can fit in more icons into your home screens. Personally for me, what I really like is multi-window. It still works great on this size screen. You can also customize your quick toggles in the notifications bar. I find this especially useful. and the settings menu has also been simplified quite a bit. You now have quick settings within the settings panel, so you can assign 6 favorites here and get to them quickly and easily. So overall, I have actually really liked using TouchWiz here. Now moving on to some of the additional features. Firstly, you've got a fingerprint scan on the home button. This works just by touch. It works very similarly to Touch ID on the iPhone. Samsung have finally ditched that swipe fingerprint scanner that we had on the S5 and the Note 4. I mean, I found myself switching those off because they were hit and miss. Here, this is not the case. You've got some great fingerprint scanners on the S6 and the S6 Edge, and they work first time around. Now, Samsung Pay is still going to be rolled out, so I can't really comment on that, but this is something that I'll probably look at in a later video. You still have the IR blasters, so you can control your television and things, and you've still got the heart rate monitor at the back of the device. I did not find myself using this, so I'm not really going to comment about it. Now let's talk a little bit about the Edge. How much functionality does it offer? Well, you've got a few features here. Firstly, you can switch this from left to right. You can only use one at a time, but this is not a problem that a lot of people were complaining about with the Note Edge. You can see notifications, so you can swipe up and down, and these are going to give you time, and you can swipe through some of your notifications. I did not really use this, I'm going to be completely honest here. I found it easier just to go into the device and unlock the device with that fingerprint scanner rather than faffing around and trying to see my notifications in the side. I mean, this might be useful if you're using a case, you know, one of those flip cases where you can just see the Edge, but for me, I did not use this. There's also the nighttime clock, so you can have the time displaying continuously at a very low brightness, so you can have this on your bedside. Once again, this is not something that I found myself using. One Edge feature that I did find myself using quite a bit was People Edge, so you can assign 5 contacts to 5 different colors, and you can simply drag from the right and get to them straight away. Now with the different colors assigned to the 5 favorite contacts, if your device is facing downwards and one of your contacts calls, then the Edge will glow in that specific color for that favorite contact. But who puts their device face down anyway, so I didn't really find this useful. Plus it's very difficult to see if you're in a brightly lit room, so once again not too keen on this specific feature. Now moving on to the batteries, you've only got 50 milliamps between these two, and I have covered the batteries extensively in a separate video which I will be linking in the description below. Overall, I'd say they're okay, good, but not great. I got roughly about 4 hours on screen time on an average day, so I do think most people will get through the full day, but a lot of you will need top-ups. The good news, however, is that you've got fast charging. Fast charging is one of my favorite features here, so that you can get a quick charge, roughly about 50% in half an hour, which is absolutely awesome. And you also do have wireless charging built in, which is great, so you can just drop this on a wireless charger and get a top-up when needed. So the S6 and the S6 Edge. Now overall, I've been hugely impressed with both these devices. I think Samsung have done great in terms of taking over that feedback from the S5 and giving us 2 well-designed and built phones, especially with the S6 Edge. I mean, it's unique. There's nothing like that in the market right now, and it definitely stands out. How useful those Edge features are is arguable, but one thing you can't deny is that it looks absolutely beautiful. You've also got the best cameras out there and also the best displays on smartphones in my opinion. So these are 2 very, very nice options. Now, which one should you go for, the S6 or the S6 Edge? Well, you're going to be paying roughly about $100 or £100. £100 is quite a large amount here in the UK. I'm not sure why they've kept it that much, because £100 is roughly about $150 in the US, so very, very high price for the S6 Edge. Is it worth it? Well, it is definitely about the cosmetic and the build. It is something that makes it look unique, so if you are somebody that's into that and you can justify yourself spending that much more, then I would say go for the Edge. Otherwise, the S6 is definitely a great option. What do you think of the S6 and the S6 Edge? Do drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, then please do hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out. And if you haven't already, then be sure to subscribe to the channel. I've got plenty more content coming up on here. If you want to see my previous related video, that will also be linked in the annotation as well as in the description below. And you can also stay in touch with me over social media: Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Instagram, all the places that I hang out. So all of the addresses will be there as well as in the description below. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf TV, and I'll see you next time.